I'm not gonna lie, One Piece has actually managed to surpass my expectations. I didn't expect to love this show nearly as much as I do now. I think it's fair to say that the shonen genre has managed to offer us a lot over the years, but with the sheer amount of shonen anime that have been released, it can often feel as though you're watching the same generic anime that you've seen 100 times before, just due to the sheer saturation of shonen anime. Since it's meant for a younger audience, there's a lot of tropes that are reused within the genre. Now, is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, but it can lead to feeling worn out of the shonen genre after watching, so many series that could feel like carbon copies of each other. Sometimes it can be difficult to remain open-minded, since it can be difficult not to take a catalog of tropes from other shows and apply them to the show that you're currently watching. There's that one segment of every anime fan's cycle that they reach a point where they've seen so many shows that just evaluating whether a show they saw 5 years ago was good or not, or just good to them because it was new, could cause them to keel over from an aneurysm. But overthinking, as many things in life, tends not to help anything. It's often very easy to fall into this trap of thinking that whatever anime you're watching won't offer anything new or spectacular in comparison to other shows you've seen, which very well may be true for some of them, but not for all of them. As intellectual individuals, all of us in the anime community need to hone and develop the skill of shutting one's brain off to prevent overthinking and going into watching a show with a clear mind. This isn't often the easiest thing to do, but from experience, you'll probably 9 out of 10 times find you enjoy the show more, without the overanalyzing. Through the sheer magnitude of titles that have been released over the years, there's bound to be repeated tropes. But whether or not you let that stop you from finding the good anime, that's up to you. Now, obviously, it's quick to judge a show by its predecessors, and I've been guilty of doing this in the past, and, I still do it in some genres. Some genres, I've just watched so many anime that whenever I see a new show uses the same trope as another show, it can often feel reused and unoriginal. It can sometimes be difficult to remain open-minded when everything you're surrounding yourself with seems to be the same type of content rehashed over time. I don't define what shows I watch by a certain genre. I kind of hit the entire spectrum when it comes to, watching different shows, if you know what I'm saying. I know that some people that I've spoken to, they like either shonen or they like seinen anime. But for me personally, I like to branch out when it comes to watching new anime, because there's good anime and there's shit anime, and every anime offers the viewer something different. I try and keep an open mind because I never know when I'm going to be surprised. The first anime I ever saw was a huge surprise to me. I didn't know that I would like it as much as I did. I originally had the disposition that I wouldn't like anime, that it would just be childish. But then I went in, I watched it, and figured out that it wasn't. And ever since then, I tried to, when approaching watching different varieties of shows, I tried to keep that same open-minded mentality, because you never know when you're going to be surprised. One Piece was exactly that for me. So I've been watching anime for years, and the shonen genre was really tricky for me because I had watched some shonen before. There were ones I enjoyed, there were ones I got bored of because it was just repeated tropes. One Piece is an example of how after watching like 250 or so anime, which now that I actually step back and just evaluate the magnitude of how many episodes and hours I spent watching anime, I begin to question multiple things. But One Piece, although being so old, when I underwent the journey of watching it, was new and exciting. So before One Piece, I had started Fairy Tail. I binged the whole first season of Fairy Tail on Netflix, and I was watching Fairy Tail dubbed. You can roast me if you want, but it's honestly Fairy Tail dub. I'd say they did a phenomenal job with it. I moved on to watching Fairy Tail, the dubbed version, while it was still on Verve, while they still had their partnership with Funimation. And I loved Fairy Tail, but it also had a lot of repeated tropes in it. Up until I started watching One Piece, it was the one show that I had watched more episodes of than anything else. I've said in prior videos, my attention span's not the greatest, so of course, I sort of burned out on watching Fairy Tail after quite a while, and ever since they discontinued, Crunchyroll discontinued their partnership with Funimation, I really haven't revisited Fairy Tail. One Piece I had actually started watching because someone at work had told me that he was watching it, and he was really enjoying it. So I decided, all right, let's take a look at this. I want to see what One Piece has to offer, because I've heard things about One Piece. I knew that it was super popular, had a great rating, and there was a dedicated community for One Piece. And I mean a dedicated community. Fans of One Piece are some of the most dedicated fans I've seen besides, well, JoJo. Very dedicated community. People really do love One Piece because they've been following it for years. I'm pretty sure there was a news release stating that the show was projected to keep airing 5 years into the future, and by that point, I don't know what the episode count will be like because we're almost at 1,000 episodes in One Piece right now, and I am currently in the Sky Island arc. Now, I've heard multiple opinions. Some friends have come to me and they've said, One Piece gets better, it gets better over time, it just consistently gets better and stuff, but I've just been enjoying the journey. One Piece is one of those shows that I can just sit down and relax to, and one of the things that I love so much about this show is the build-ups that come before the fights. I may complain about filler, like how they spent 50 episodes walking through a desert, but to be fair, it's sort of a double-edged sword, because yeah, you have to sit through a lot of episodes in order to get to the actual part. Of course, you could skip the filler episodes, but that's not really the approach I take when it comes to watching anime. I'm a completionist, so I have to watch it all the way through. So I watch them walk through a desert for 50 plus episodes. That's an exaggeration, but you get the point. When they finally get to the boss fights, they're just so intense. The way they build up to the climax is just amazing. It may take like 6 episodes to get through the final boss fight, but once you're done with that, it feels super satisfying. I was watching this one episode where Luffy and Zoro and Nami were all getting bullied by Hyena Dude, and Luffy decides not to fight him, but my man Luffy holds out for like 6, 7, 8 episodes, and it makes the finale of the segment all the more satisfying when the dude finally gets his ass handed to him. The pacing is actually one of the things that I love about One Piece. I've heard people say that One Piece's pacing was too slow, and it can be, but you gotta remember it was airing since, 1999, so it's been going for quite a while. I don't expect to catch up to where we're currently at anytime soon. There's a lot of anime I plan to watch, and some of it I will never touch in my lifetime. Although One Piece is a big commitment, I feel as though it's very doable if you just put your mind to it. Even if you don't like it, starting it, I'd say, is definitely worth it, because I was super hesitant about starting this show, but once I started it, like 200 episodes in, and I didn't expect that, because I never get 200 episodes into any show. Thank you all for supporting the channel, I really appreciate it. Like if you guys like, subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys in the next video.